Good evening, everyone. I'm Caleigh, founder and CEO of BOLO Inc. I'm so excited joining me for this amazing discussion we're having tonight, presented by the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition. We're talking about mental wellness and how we can support our minds, bodies, and souls with holistic habits. Joining me for this awesome chat
hello,
is a great friend of mine. I'm so excited we're doing this together.
Me too.
This is Andrea Donsky. She's incredible. If you haven't heard of her, she's a CSNN grad.
I am.
She's the founder of naturallysavvy.com.
I am.
And a holistic nutrition professional.
I am as well.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. This is really exciting and really fun.
It is really fun. It's fun to be together.
I know. We've known each other a long time, so this is awesome.
Yes, we're so excited to be chatting about this. This is a topic that almost everyone, if not everyone in the world, can relate to. And that is, mind, body, spirit connection, how we can make ourselves healthier and happier with natural means.
Yeah, and mood, right? At this time of the year, it's a little bit dark outside. It's getting better, though. Getting better.
This winter, we're all going to heaven for going through this winter together and surviving. It has been a time. But we're going to talk about seasonal affective disorder, habits that will help us through that.
That's right.
We're going to talk about amazing recipes and the ingredients that we can have that will boost our mood, that will boost our brain function, mentally be more clear.
Be less stressed. Less anxious.
Be a little bit more cheerful.
That's right.
And nourished. I'm starving. I've been picking at this stuff.
She has been. I could tell you she has been.
I have left, I think, enough for the actual recipe. I hope. But yeah, so we're going to get into all that. But I first wanted to say congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
You have had such an amazing few months.
Thank you.
Shifter. Talk to me about this Shifter Award that you just received.
Oh my gosh, well thank you so much, Caleigh. It's been really exciting. I won Shifter of the Year last week at ShiftCon. It's a conference for wellness bloggers, so that was really exciting. People who are making a shift in mindsets, helping people make better, healthier choices, right?
Yeah.
And luckily to have a platform like Naturally Savvy that really allowed me to get out there. And what's also really exciting is I was just named one of the top 100 health influencers in Canada by Optimize magazine, so that was really exciting. It came out last week and I was so excited.
Yeah,
so that's really
amazing.
Exciting. Thank
you. But
it
all started with CSNN.
It did.
Let's talk about your decision to go back to school and to study nutrition and start this amazing career.
Yeah, so back in 1999, I believe it was a while ago, I decided to go back to school to become a holistic nutrition professional.
Yes.
And that's because, I was having digestive issues. And, I would be lying in bed at night and I would look at my belly and I would look like I was 4 months pregnant, and I was just, dating my husband. I think I just got married that year. I was engaged to be married. And what was happening is I didn't really understand what was going on. So I started doing a lot of research. I started reading Vitality magazine and Alive magazine and all these magazines, and what I started to learn is that the food I was eating was affecting my body.
Right.
But I never really made the connection.
Yeah. It seems such a basic concept, but some of us don't actually take the time to recognize that connection directly.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what I was putting into my body was giving me gas and bloating at the time. So I decided to go back to school because I thought I'm so well read at this point that I'm going to go back to school and get a degree and become that holistic nutrition professional. So I did, and I enrolled in CSNN, and let me tell you, it was life-changing. I mean, going back to school to understand how the mind, body, spirit, how everything is connected, how what I was eating. So what I found out at the time is that my body didn't like dairy. My body didn't like certain things. So when I started to adjust what I was eating and what I was drinking and what I was putting on my body, it all changed for me. So really going back to school, I thought, why not get a degree in something? And that's what CSNN gave me. So I'm so appreciative to CSNN.
And how's your bloating now?
It's gone. Very happy to say it's gone.
So we need to chat after that because I feel like
Absolutely.
I constantly look 4 months pregnant, if not more.
No problem. Happy to do that.
That's amazing. And obviously you're still very connected to the CSNN, and that community is really important to you.
Very.
Talk to me about that relationship.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So over the years, I've been in touch with the school, which is great. And we have a lot of colleagues, a lot of fellow holistic nutrition professionals that, we get together. And I run a group called NNG. So if you are a holistic nutrition professional based anywhere, really, Canada or the US, doesn't matter. We're on Facebook at NNG, and we do webinars, and we also, have a lot of students from CSNN, a lot of alumni, grads, and have gone back to the school over the years and done practicum. So I mean, still very connected with the school. I mean, literally, like you said, Caleigh, the reason I'm able to do what I do is because of CSNN. So, very, very grateful to the school.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I'm happy that they asked me to be a part of this. It's amazing. But I wanted to chat about two things. First of all, I just wanted to call out all of our viewers. Hi.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome. We are more than happy to take your questions. Please send us all your questions, slide into our DMs, let us know what you're curious about, and we want to answer them live. And then I also wanted to discuss, because we're talking about mental wellness, I know that there's some things that we wanted to discuss in terms of from a holistic professional, nutrition professional perspective.
Yeah.
What we're talking about in terms of what we're comfortable
saying
what
or
you're
not
comfortable
saying.
with as a professional. Yeah.
So we don't diagnose anybody. So we basically support people who have been diagnosed with mental health issues with lifestyle and supplementation and nutrition.
Yes.
But if we see somebody needs more help, we'll refer them to a mental health practitioner.
Yeah.
So that's really important to say.
I think it's important.
Yeah.
Today we're just going to be talking about how we can just support ourselves and each other with natural,
Yummy food.
delicious food.
Nutrient-dense food.
I've waited long
Are you
enough.
hungry? You're hungry. I think
The
we should get
time has
going.
come.
We're gonna make a shake. We gotta get you fed, Caleigh. Do you want to make a shake with me?
I want to make a shake.
Okay, so what we're gonna do, this is a breakfast smoothie that I make literally, probably at least 3-4 times a week. And what's great about the ingredients on the table is that they're going to affect our moods in a positive way.
Right.
Okay, so I'm gonna have you help me, okay? So why don't you pass me that milk right over there? Pass me the pitcher
What kind
of
of
milk.
milk is this?
So this is
It can't be
non-dairy.
dairy, because I know you don't eat dairy. We just learned that.
I don't drink dairy. I am a big, huge, for those who know me, who follow us at Naturally Savvy, I'm cuckoo for coconuts.
Yes,
Like,
you are.
I know, it's like one
It's
of
like
those.
either coconuts or probiotics, and that's all I know.
I like that. I like that's how you associate
Yeah.
me. But I'm a huge coconut fan.
Okay.
So I'm going to use coconut milk,
Yeah.
and I'm going to put it in here.
Okay.
And basically, I won't put it up too much, just so that we have some room to add
Okay.
everything else. Now, you want to use a base of a non-dairy milk. You
So
can.
is this sweetened or it's not
I
sweetened?
was just
It's
going to
rich?
say
I'm
that. You took
sorry.
the. No, I love that. You read
Okay.
my mind. See,
Okay,
that's
I'm
what
here
so
with
good. I
you.
love it. You read my mind. All right, so I was going to say you could use a sweetened one, vanilla. I use unsweetened.
Okay.
So because everything here has a lot of sweetness to it, or you can even
That's
if you
true.
if you want it a little sweeter, you can even add like a xylitol or something or stevia.
What
if
about
you
like
want.
a honey?
You can add whatever you want. Any natural sweetener. Just stay away from the artificial stuff.
Yes.
That would be our thing.
Got it.
Okay, so I'm going to have you pass me a banana. We're going to start with bananas, and what's great about bananas is that bananas have
whole
magnesium.
thing?
Yep, you can do the whole thing. Bananas have magnesium, which helps to relax us. About 70% of us are deficient in magnesium. And magnesium kind of just helps us take it down a notch, and it helps to relax our muscles. It also has tryptophan. Tryptophan helps to make serotonin, which is a feel-good neurotransmitter.
Right.
So both of those are a great reason to put bananas in your shake. Okay, so now you're going to pass me some of the goji berries.
Don't take all of them because I want to snack on these later.
You can absolutely snack on them. So these are goji berries. They're also known as wolfberry. So you
They're
can see,
so delicious.
aren't they beautiful?
I'm curious though, because I feel like I have these at home and I'm always afraid to put them in my smoothie because they're so hard.
Well, I love that you asked me that. So you could soak them before. If you soak them, they'll actually get really plump.
Okay.
So you could soak them before and then you can add them in.
These are not soaked.
These are not soaked, but yeah, that's a great question
Okay,
to
so
soak
you're just
them before.
putting in like
Yeah,
a couple of...
exactly. Just
Okay.
throw it in.
And what
kind
are
of
the
free
goji
stuff.
berries doing for me?
So what's great about goji berries is that they are very high in antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals. They're a nutrient-dense food. And what's also great is they have beta-carotene. Yeah, you can have them. Beta-carotene, which also positively affects our mood. And they help us deal with stress better. So they're awesome. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you to pass me my fave, coconut oil. So put in about a tablespoon of coconut oil. And what's great about coconut oil is
Vanna
it's...
White this.
Exactly. What's great about coconut oil is that it's high in MCT, which is medium chain triglycerides. Now, what's great about that is that it's being studied now for brain health, specifically Alzheimer's, and our brains are made up of fat. 60% of our brains is made up. We're fatheads. We're fatheads. So you want to be able to make sure that you have good amounts of fat. Exactly. You heard it here. All right. So now we're going to put in some walnuts.
If the shifter of the year says it, I believe it.
There you go. So what's great about walnuts?
How many am I?
Like a tablespoon,
like a
exactly. You want to take out, make sure there's no water in it. We soak them first,
water.
and soaking nuts in general will help them make it more digestible. So, all right, so you're going to throw in your walnuts. What's great about walnuts is that they have tryptophan as well, and they also have omega-3s.
Okay.
Now, omega-3s, there are over, if you go to omega-research.com, there are over 200 studies on omega-3 and how it affects mood and depression.
Wow.
So it's so important. Those omega-3s are so important for our brain. Okay, so now we're going to add in some avocado.
Oh, this is my
Now,
fave.
I
Okay, first of
personally-
all, whoever chose this avocado
Did a good job.
just really did a really nice job on this one.
It's very hard to find very ripe avocados.
It's like they're ripe for 60 seconds. And then
I know. There's a
And
great
I- and I
meme
do
online.
the
Did you ever
whole
see the meme where it's like, not yet, not yet, not yet, too late? It's awesome. All right, so what's great about avocados is that it's a happy fruit.
Am I doing this whole thing?
Yep, just put in the whole half. Now, what's great about the fact why it's a happy fruit is not only because it makes us happy, because we can use it in pretty much...
Sorry. Sorry.
This is live TV. I love it. All right, so
man down, man down.
All right, we'll just kick it under.
Kick it out.
What's great about the avocado is that it has, again, good fats for our brain.
Yes.
You're doing a great job. You can even put the whole thing in. Yeah, it also has protein and it has fiber, so it helps to balance our blood sugar.
I spend a lot of time in the kitchen, guys. I
think we're going to have to.
This is happening live.
And then it also has folic acid, which helps to reduce homocysteine in our body. And high amounts of homocysteine in our body is actually linked to depression and anxiety. So again, avocado is that happy fruit that we should always have it. We should eat it as much as we can. Don't be afraid of the fat. It's so good for us. And
that's a really important thing that's going on right now. Is people are starting to gravitate more towards fats again, which I think is so good in so many ways.
The ketogenic diet, I mean, for sure. We need fat in our diet, so let's not be afraid of it. Now, again, keep in mind it's good fat. Yes. So we don't want to be eating, the trans fats or any of those bad fats. It's the good fats. Okay, so now I'm going to put in a little bit of chia seeds. I'm going to use your avocado spoon. So about a teaspoon of chia seeds. Again, they have those omega-3s. Chia seeds also have a lot of protein and fiber, again, for balancing our blood sugar. And it also has calcium, which has been also directly related to mood. So
the blood sugar thing, that's something that you wouldn't necessarily think of. But the peaks and valleys of your blood sugar could definitely play a role in.
It absolutely plays a role in mood.
Yeah, how you're feeling.
Right, so because if you're going to, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later in terms of, the foods that we're eating, but you want to eat foods that have, the protein and the fiber to keep our blood sugar balanced, because then our moods are balanced.
Yeah.
Right, so that's important.
It's that hanger that sometimes just gets you,
Exactly. So then now I'm going to add in some berries. Now I'm a big fan of any type of berry, really, because they oxygenate the brain, which lead to better moods. But also, what's great about blueberries is that research shows that it improves our mood only after 2 hours of eating it.
Really?
Eating them, yeah. So it has such a positive effect on our mood. So I'm going to add some blueberries to our shake.
Antioxidants.
Oh, huge in antioxidants. I mean, they're low in sugar, which is great. And then the last thing we're going to add in is some cacao. Have you ever tried cacao?
Well, obviously chocolate's going to make us feel happy.
Well,
that's just...
well, it has phenylethylamine, which is our love hormone.
So what is it called?
I would put phenylethylamine.
Say that 3 times fast.
No, not going to happen. All right, so let's put it in like a tablespoon. I put in like a tablespoon. Put in a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and what's great about raw cacao is that it's chocolate in its unprocessed form, and it's caffeine-free, and it gives us a lot of energy. It's a superfood. So again, I love that in my morning shake. All right, so now I'm going to cover it up.
Did we put strawberries in there?
We can if you want. I didn't, but go ahead.
Fine, I'll just eat them.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Callie's going to eat them. All right, so I'm going to put it on. I'm going to move away from this just a little bit. All right. Let it go.
It looks so good.
Yeah, it looks so yummy. All right, so
it's chocolatey.
Now I'm gonna.
While you pour, I'm gonna take a question.
Yeah, go for it.
So excited about the questions coming in.
I love it.
Heather wants to know: should we limit the amount of fat in the smoothie? Because we did just put a lot of different fats in. So that's a great question, Heather.
So I follow like paleo/ketogenic diet. So again, fat is really important for us. You have to know your body, and if your body does really well on fat, like for me. Fat energizes my brain. It gives energy to my brain. It gives energy to my body.
Right.
For me, it works really well. If it doesn't affect you the same way, I'd say, obviously limit it. I think at the end of the day, Caleigh, it's about listening to our bodies.
Absolutely.
Right? And if something works really well for you, go for it. If it doesn't, and you can experiment, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's an important thing too. But you don't want to overdo anything. I think I'm all about the moderation too.
For sure.
We put a tablespoon of coconut oil, and you can put a half or a quarter of an avocado if you don't want to do the whole thing. I do the whole thing, and I don't,
And the nuts have some fat.
And the nuts have some fat too. The cheese, Here, okay, so it might be a little bit, maybe not so smooth, sorry.
No,
Just I didn't want to leave it on for
amazing.
too long.
I think that body, mind, intuition thing is so important to note is that nothing is across the board, right? Everyone has a different experience, and it's all about the exploration of your own body.
That's right.
What feels good for you. And that only happens if we sort of pay attention to what's going in and how it makes us feel after.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I get a stomachache at night, and I'm not even being mindful of what happened during the day.
Right.
But to reflect and to look back and say okay, yes, X, Y, Z, okay, that makes sense how I feel.
Was it something I ate? Was it something I was feeling? Was I stressed?
Totally.
Did somebody say something to me that
Sometimes
kind of set me off?
I think it's eating while stressed. I think that's a big thing.
No, I think that's actually a really good point because we shouldn't be eating when we're stressed, right? Because our body can't be digesting when it's actually dealing with that fight or flight, right?
I live on the go, so I just think sometimes I'm not actually digesting my food.
So
we have another question.
Good point. Yeah.
Amanda wants to know, what about frozen fruit versus fresh fruit?
I mean, fresh is always great. Obviously, number one choice. If you don't have fresh fruit, like for example, we're living in Canada, and it's cold outside, so we can't really grow our fruits and vegetables in our backyard right now. So I'd say frozen is the next best thing.
Yeah, and then also, like, I guess it depends. Well, I buy like fresh bananas, but then I freeze them because I like the way it tastes when it's frozen in my smoothie.
You know what I do is I'll take the bananas and I'll wrap it in parchment paper. So because then they stick, if you put the whole bunch of bananas on top of each other, it's so hard to get them off.
Yeah,
so I like individually wrap them.
Like, no.
So that's a really good tip.
I'm dying to try this now.
All right, go for it. Cheers. Yes.
Thanks, Andrea.
Yummy.
Brain and mood boosting smoothie. I'll
Sweet.
take it.
Yummy, right?
There's a little chocolate in there, just gives just enough sweet.
Yeah, and it'll give you energy throughout the day. It'll feed your brain. I mean, it has so many good ingredients. So yeah,
Let's
this is my little
talk a little
secret.
bit about, and you mentioned it briefly with the caffeine, but we're talking about all the foods that we should be gravitating towards when we want to support our minds and bodies.
Yep.
What are the things that we should sort of like steer clear from?
Okay, so again, we're going to go back to listening to our body. So if there's a certain food that triggers you and causes anxiety or stress, obviously stay away from it. But in general, as a holistic nutrition professional, I would be saying stay away from anything that's too high in sugar, right? Sugar, again, is going to affect our blood sugar levels, right? It's going to make us, it's going to spike our blood sugar, and then our blood sugars are going to fall. We're going to crash and burn, and then we're going to get irritable and anxious.
If we're going to have sugar, because, like, let's be honest, it happens, is there something that we can have with it to metabolize it better?
I think an important thing to clarify would be what type of sugar are we talking about. I mean, I wrote a book called Unjunk Your Junk Food. I'm not anti, I'm not going to say never have sugar, especially, I have young kids.
You can say it, I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, so I'm going to say, I'm going to tell you that it's normal if you want to have sugar, but make better choices. So stay away from the artificial stuff. So by the way, aspartame has been linked to making people who have been diagnosed with depression worsening their symptoms. And that was a study done on aspartame. So stay away from the artificial stuff. If you want to do, have sugar, the honey, the maple syrup, you can do a xylitol, a stevia, you can do monk fruit. So there are so many natural alternatives that I would say those are what you should go for instead.
Fair enough.
So some other foods you want to stay away from would be anything with, pesticides. Pesticides have been linked to, mood, worsening our moods. So I would say, stick with the stuff that's good for us.
And you have a list, right? The
scary seven.
The scary seven.
Yeah, so aspartame would be on that list, for example.
But pesticides with the berries, like, are we good? And how can we wash our berries to make sure the pesticides are not an issue?
So that's a great question. So there's something called the Dirty Dozen. So if you go onto EWG's website or you just Google the Dirty Dozen, it'll tell you which fruits and vegetables are the highest or have the highest concentration of pesticides. So those are the ones you want to buy organic. Berries are definitely on the Dirty Dozen. I would say if you're going to eat berries, make sure they're organic.
Like my favorite things in the world.
And they're both on the Dirty Dozen. So I'd say organic, and that's an important thing.
Organic, yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's have a seat and sip on our smoothies. This is so great. I'm just going to move some of this stuff.
We're going to chit chat.
I
like it.
I'm so excited to delve a little deeper into this topic with you. I think it's such a great topic to discuss, and just having like open and honest conversations. It's my jam, guys. But we have another question.
All right.
Adeline, am I saying that right? What a beautiful name.
It is a beautiful name.
Are there foods that have been known to elevate stress besides sugar?
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely elevate stress in particular, or just, I guess, attached to our mood. So I'd say anything that we just talked about, the processed foods, you want to stay away from anything that's white, like white pasta, white rice, those are important. For some people, even gluten is an issue. And I'm not saying everybody needs to have a gluten-free diet, but some people don't do well on gluten, and it affects their moods. I've met quite a few people who've said that it affects their moods in a negative way, or causes, more anxiety, or makes them more stressed. So I would say, foods like gluten as well. There's a great list. We could post in the comments. I can post a whole list afterwards that I have that can actually negatively affect our stress or create stress for us.
Yeah, well, what creates stress for me is just when I don't feel well after I eat. So one of the driving forces for me behind making healthy choices is just that when I don't eat well and I don't feel well, then I'm in a grumpy mood. I'm tired. I don't want to be social, I get reclusive when my stomach hurts. I don't want to be around people.
Absolutely.
Sometimes if I have a stomach ache when I'm teaching at my gym, it's like I really have to rally. It's very difficult. So I think like sometimes healthy choices put you in a better state just by nature of making you feel well from the inside out.
You know what I did? I recently had genetic testing done. And it told me exactly how I should be eating. So I found out that genetically I can't digest dairy. It just doesn't work for me. Or starch just doesn't work for me. So and now I follow a paleo/keto diet, and it works really well, and I feel good. I feel the way I should be feeling, which is great. So again, listening to our bodies at the end of the day, that's the important thing.
Yeah. There's another really hot topic right now, and a topic that's being researched a lot right now, which is the gut-brain connection. So I wanted to discuss that with you, get your take on it, and also get some tips for supporting our gut to make sure that our brain function is working optimally. Yeah.
So yes, there's a huge connection between the gut and the brain. Scientists or researchers, experts are now saying that our gut is our second brain, which is very interesting. So have you ever heard of the expression, I have a gut feeling? Right? So that shows how...
Go with your gut.
Go with your gut, exactly. That shows you how they're so related. So the key is you really want to make sure that we're keeping our gut healthy. So for example, let's say someone who has irritable bowel syndrome, right? So what would set off the spasms in their bowel?
It's always stress.
Stress, right? So that's why it's, everything is connected, right?
Which is, I think, case in point, what I'm going through.
Right. So you want
a fast-paced, stressful
you're
life
busy,
right now.
You just opened up your own business, congratulations, you've got a lot going on, right? So that's why it's important, exactly, making sure that you're dealing with your stress on a regular basis. So how would you do that? Meditation, exercise. You run a gym, which is amazing. So you're constantly, you've got that part, which is terrific. Your box, I'm doing this, not, I'm doing it because it's a boxing gym.
Andrea, you're so violent.
Exactly.
God.
When people think I'm just reaching out and boxing, but
that's exactly how we do it in the gym too, just like that.
Exactly. See, she's the professional, she's the boxer. I'm kickboxing, but
stick to nutrition. Yeah, stick to nutrition. That's fine. I'm just kidding.
Hey, listen,
I'm just kidding.
My husband laughs all the time. He's like, yeah, you don't really got those muscles, honey. I'm like, yeah,
no, you do. You're powerful. You're powerful. So back to the gut brain.
Yes. So you want to make sure that you keep your gut balanced. So in our gut, we've got good and bad bacteria. So you want to make sure that good and bad bacteria is constantly balanced, right? But what happens is when we're super stressed or we're eating poor, foods that don't have a lot of nutrition in it, what happens is that the bad bacteria starts to get a little bit higher than the good bacteria. And then what happens is eventually proliferate. And then when it does, it becomes a lot more than the good. And that's when it throws our body out of whack. 70 to 80% of our immune system is in our gut. So if it becomes out of whack, what happens? Our immune system, so we get, we can get our colds and our flu. We may not feel so good. So that's why it's really important that you keep your gut in check. So you can, take probiotics. I love that you said that before. I'm a huge fan of probiotics, but also you can eat fermented foods. I mean, there are things that you can do, in terms of keeping your gut in check. So that's important,
Always start the day with a probiotic. Otherwise, Andrea will come for you.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I love that. And then the other piece of the puzzle, where we've been talking about the mind and the body, but the other, piece of the puzzle is that trifecta of the spirit, the mind, the body, and the spirit. And I know that this is something that the CSNN promotes in their curriculum, and it's something that you and I talk about all the time. Let's talk about that spirituality component as it relates to our mental wellness.
I mean, I think again, everything is interconnected, right? Yeah. And we posted a meme on Naturally Savvy yesterday. It was a video, it was awesome, and it was talking about getting rid of the drama in your life and toxic people in your life. And I think that all of that is connected, right? So if you've got the drama going on, and then you've got, it's going to manifest. You have some type of emotional thing going on, and then that's going to manifest physically. I think the key is really you want to keep, as much as you can, try to keep the drama out, try to keep the toxic people out of your life, try to really keep things even keel, and that way, researchers are saying now is that a lot of disease starts from the emotional component, right? And it manifests last into the physical. So that emotional component is so important when it comes to healthy living. It's so important when it comes to health in general, right? So I think that's what the important thing is. And actually, it was one of my favorite courses at CSNN.
Was it?
Yeah, Mind, Body, Spirit.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I love that.
I feel like it's only recently that I feel like the general public is starting to take things like meditation more seriously, and that self-care piece of it, to take that time to just reflect inwards and take that moment for yourself. To be honest, I'm so on the go all the time, and my brain's always going, that meditation feels almost impossible sometimes. But I took a mindfulness course, which I found really powerful. And now my meditation exists in daily things that I do. So I always say that my meditation exists when I'm petting my dogs.
Yeah.
Sitting on the floor, there's no phone around. I'm just there with them, being present, feeling, their softness and just like reacting to them. I'm sure that's similar to how people feel with children. Dogs are my children. But that's sort of my form of meditation. And then obviously boxing.
Yeah, and I love that you said that because you don't really have to, I'm so type A personality. And for me to sit and quiet my mind for 20 minutes, it's hard for me to get there. So what I do is I do morning mantras, morning affirmations. I do a lot of walking meditation, constantly speaking to myself, positive thinking, positive thoughts, right? Those are all part of it. So if you don't have the time or you can't really sit down twice a day, 20 minutes a day, you can do it in other ways. And I think the key is just being mindful, like you said. And that's for me.
Even for a minute.
Even for a minute, yeah.
We have a question.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull it up here. Amanda says,
Hi,
what
Amanda.
are some tips to help rebalance our gut health?
So eating well, for sure.
Clean eating, real food.
Real food, whole foods is really important. Try to get rid of the sugar. I mean, that's a key component. Making sure that when you are eating, it's nutrient-dense foods, like we talked about the goji berries and the cacao and all these fruits and vegetables, are huge. And then I would say, for sure, probiotics. I mean, I think I'm a true believer that we do need the supplementation support. So I would say doing something, getting a daily probiotic would be a big help.
Cool. Thanks, Amanda.
And then emotional. Trying to, really, you can exercise. That's another really good way, right? Is exercising and, getting rid of that. And, if you're stressed or getting rid of that or, I don't know, exercising and just getting oxygen to your brain is a good thing.
100%. I mean, I'm a big fan, obviously. Yeah. Let's talk about this winter. I sort of joked about it off the top, but seasonal affective disorder is a real thing for many people.
Yeah.
In the winter months, we often feel down. We feel lethargic. We have, trouble getting excited about social things. We just want to stay in. We kind of want to stay away from people and the things that make us happy.
Antisocial.
So many things that come into play here with the seasonal affective disorder. What are some things that we can do to support ourselves naturally?
So I would say, if you work in an office that has windows, try to stay near the windows so that you can get light. That would be a big one. Light therapy really, really works.
So, okay, like light therapy, people are always talking about light therapy. Where do I pick up something like this?
You can even just Google it online. Amazon sells it. You can go to health food stores, they'll sell it. And you can get these special lights that you can bring into your home and sit in front of them for a certain amount of time. My sister just posted a picture of her dog in front of the lights, which was really awesome. So even the animals, he just loves it. He just sits in front of the lights. So even for our pets. So it works really well. It gives us that light that we need when we're in so much darkness in the winter months, right? Exercise is really important. Even getting outside for a walk, even if it's 5 minutes,
But even in the cold weather,
even in the cold weather,
help us?
It'll help us. Making sure that when the sun is shining, try to just expose yourself, get even the fresh air, right? It's going to help with oxygenating our bodies.
Sometimes the things that we want to do the least that are going to be the most helpful.
Exactly.
Like I don't want to go outside. I feel like I'm allergic to the cold.
Right.
I don't want to go out. I don't want to put the 17 layers on. But it's probably what I need the most.
Getting some fresh air, exercising is a big one, and vitamin D. That's another really big one, is supplementing with vitamin D. There's been a lot of research around mood and vitamin D. So I'm a big fan.
Recommend?
I'm a huge fan of vitamin D. And the way I would recommend doing it is getting your blood levels tested.
Right.
It's the 25 OHD, I believe, is the actual blood test. Seeing what your blood levels are. And if you go on Naturally Savvy, we have quite a few articles on vitamin D and the levels. And then once you have your level, trying to get up to that optimal level. Because really, there was some great research done by these two brothers, and they were saying that if you have optimal levels of vitamin D, you actually decrease your chance of getting cancer by like 15%. Oh, wow. 50%, sorry. You have several different types of cancer. So it's such an important, it's actually a hormone, but it's such an important vitamin we should be taking daily.
Yeah, I put some drops in my smoothie in the morning.
Yes, exactly. You can add it.
Sometimes I feel like I take so many supplements by pill that when I can get a dropper or a tincture,
they're awesome.
I prefer that because
they also get absorbed right away into the bloodstream. So it's amazing when you have liquid.
We have a question
from
Tony. Will probiotic supplements work
Tony.
the same way as food with probiotics? Oh, that's a good question. Like supplementation versus getting it directly from nutrition.
Right, so that was Tony? Hi, Tony. That's awesome. All right, so That's a really good question. And, food is one way of getting it, but what supplements are, you're kind of getting the mega dose, right? So that would be the difference. So you would have to eat a lot more of the foods than you would of the supplementation. So it really depends on how much you need it. I believe everybody needs probiotics on a daily basis.
Right.
So supplementing will actually give you just that much more.
Right.
Yeah. So it'll just give you that mega dose.
Yeah. And I think, again, it's like what we've been saying is like, sometimes we need to be curious about our bodies and try different things and see how our bodies react.
Yeah. And some people, you may not want to take a supplement, and you can try it through food, but, again, I truly believe that we need more than we can just get from food. Especially because a lot of our foods are, if you're really, you're picking specific foods to help, put those probiotics into our gut, that's one thing. But if you're not as, let's say, mindful about it, and you kind of like, oh, wait a second, I forgot to eat my fermented foods today, or the other foods that, that contain inulin or the prebiotics, then taking that supplement is it's I guess an insurance policy in a way, is the way I look at it.
Fair enough, I'll buy it.
Okay.
So we've talked about, exercise as a lifestyle habit that we can implement to make us just overall healthier and happier. What about sleep? Let's talk about sleep, because I know so that important. If I don't sleep well, nothing functions properly in my body. But I know that you have a lot of advice on how we can get more quality sleep, because sometimes it's not about how much sleep, but it's about getting quality sleep.
Yeah, so sleep is really important, and for so many reasons, for balancing our hormones, but also, when we're not rested, we are more irritable, we're exhausted, we're reaching for foods because we're tired. We're going to be reaching for foods that are more sugary because we want to, pep ourselves up. So we're reaching for those junk foods maybe that we normally wouldn't.
I'm so much hungrier when I'm tired.
Right, and that's what the research
and
shows.
Insatiably hungrier. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Cannot be satisfied.
Right. So the key is we really want to sleep between 7 to 8 hours a night. Now, when we're stressed or we've got some, we're anxious, that sleep doesn't happen all the time.
Right. So what can we do?
And it's actually, what's interesting is, if you're waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and consistently, it can actually be your adrenals that are causing.
This is me.
Yeah, so it could be your adrenals are fatigued. And when your adrenals are fatigued, what happens is that you reach for those stimulants, right? You're going to reach for sugar, alcohol, coffee, caffeine. You're going to reach for those things, which are the things, by the way, that we don't want, right?
This is me.
So what can we do? Well, again, here's some interesting tips that you can do. So number one, you want to try again that magnesium. Magnesium before you go to bed. You could take a magnesium supplement or drink that'll help to relax your muscles so that you can sleep better. You can throw some lavender. You can take a bath, throw some lavender in your bath, put some lavender on your pillow. Lavender helps to relax us. Even drink chamomile tea.
Everything you're saying is just like making me sleepy.
That's right, go to bed, little girl.
Just talk me to sleep. I'm there with you.
I love it. Yeah. Well, chamomile tea is great because it has glycine in it, and glycine is like a mild stimulant, a mild sedative. Okay. So it'll help us, fall asleep a little better.
But you know what happens then? Sorry, TMI, is I just have to pee so much if I have tea before.
So you want to, that's a good point actually. So you want to drink it at least an hour before.
Okay.
So that way you can pee out everything.
Because then otherwise I'm up because I'm peeing and then I'm stressing out.
No, absolutely. No, for sure. You want to do it at least an hour before so it can go through your system. That's important.
And I know you're also a big proponent of magnesium. Did we talk about this?
Yeah, no, we did. That magnesium.
Yeah.
It's huge magnesium. Yeah. So you can even put magnesium into your like Epsom salts into your bath. That'll help to relax you too. Yeah.
And so it will absorb through the skin.
We absorb 60% of what we put on our body.
Amazing.
Yeah, 60%. So it's great. And then you can eat some foods that contain tryptophan. So tryptophan helps to also relax us. So like turkey.
Yeah.
Right. So after the big Thanksgiving meal, we're exhausted. So turkey, walnuts. These are things that can help relax us. Cashews have magnesium, so you can even have some nuts before bed.
Oh,
yeah, so these are foods that can just kind of help us take it down a notch.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. And then the other piece that I always talk about with my clients and in my community is hydration. I know sometimes when I'm dehydrated, I'm hungry.
Yep.
Sometimes when I'm dehydrated, I'm grumpy. Sometimes when I'm dehydrated, I'm headachy, I'm lethargic.
It affects our moods.
It
totally
really
affects
does.
our moods, yeah.
So let's talk about that piece. And also, I know you also have some great tips of how we can incorporate more water into our diets.
Yeah, I mean, we need to be hydrated in order to be in that good mood, right? So and do so many different functions. So for me, a lot of people over the years have said, Andrea, I really don't like drinking water. It's so hard for me to get my 6 to 8 glasses of water a day. It is.
Yeah.
So what I do is I'm a huge fan of lemon water. I love lemon water. So when you get up in the morning, you can make yourself some, warm water, hot water with lemon, squeeze in about a half a lemon. That'll just get things moving. It's also really good for your liver. And I also really like chlorophyll. So I'll put liquid mint chlorophyll into my water. It turns your water green. You get a lot of questions about it, which is awesome. So mint chlorophyll is really awesome.
And so does it taste chlorophyll-y or taste more mint?
Tastes like mint.
Okay.
And chlorophyll is so good for your body. It's
Cool.
what, fuels plants, right? So mint chlorophyll. And then you can also, drink soups. It's winter, right? So you can have soups. You can make ice cubes with fruit in it. You can put fruits into water. Like, there's so many great water bottles these days that you can actually cut and slice fruit.
True, like diffusers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can have fun with it.
Or
you can put in
infusers, I guess.
You can put in like cucumbers into it,
Cucumbers
right?
or like mint or basil or
Orange,
like all the things.
oranges, which have the electrolytes and the lemons. So there's so many ways that you can get your hydration. You don't only have to think, wow, I need my water, right? And if you are going to drink plain water, please make sure that it's filtered. Very important.
And that chamomile tea will help with the hydration as well.
Yeah, exactly. That'll get you,
So any kind of
yeah,
herbal tea, as long as you're not filling it with sugar.
Exactly.
I don't do that, I swear. We have another question.
Yes.
Chrissy. Hi, Chrissy.
Hi, Chrissy.
Circulating back to meditation, I love Headspace. Are there any other apps or programs you would suggest? So I don't use apps for meditation, but I know that a lot of people do, and there's a lot of great ones out there that have different types of meditation, people that can lead you through meditation.
There's a good I think it's called the meditation app. I think it's I'm trying to remember. It's on my phone, and I don't have my phone on me right now, but I can put it in the comments after. But it's like they've got like 5-minute meditations, 10-minute, 15 minutes, and you can actually. It has some it's guided meditation, which is great. I love guided meditation.
I think that's the way to go, especially for noobs, for
Yeah.
people who don't have a lot of
Newbies.
experience meditating. Sometimes just having someone really tap into your body for you by cueing you is really helpful.
Yeah, really good. I interviewed somebody the other day on our radio podcast, and she was saying that she sets reminders for herself throughout the day, and she'll do it at different times of the day, and she'll say like, just breathe. Or she'll put these really cool.
I love that.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Yes.
And I was like, again, that's that kind of that walking meditation, or being, not being in an actual meditative state, but just taking a moment to breathe, to, be grateful. Just kind of those daily reminders that we tend to forget, especially once our day starts and we're, stressed and we've got so much going on and we're super busy. And so I thought that was a really cool tip.
Well, that's such a good segue into the next piece of the conversation. I wanted to get a little bit personal, if that's okay with you.
Okay, sure.
I know that you and I have discussed, privately, and you've also discussed with your followers, your experience with anxiety.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about that and your journey. Obviously, you're doing so well now, but wasn't always the case.
No, I'm going to say suffered with anxiety, but I went through anxiety for about 23 years of my life, and it started in my teens. And really, anxiety is one of those things that unfortunately I know a little too much of, and I'm a little too aware of it, but it's, I was able to really deal with it through cognitive behavior therapy and a lot of positive talk. And, my mom, thank goodness, is a therapist. She was able to walk me through it a lot. And also nutrition. I'd say, our food is so deficient, and it doesn't have the nutrients, the vitamins, the minerals that we need. So really finding yourself a good, again, eating those wholesome foods that are nutrient dense, like the ones we talked about and others. But also making sure that I had the proper nutrition, those vitamins and minerals through supplements that I was taking. And I'd say the biggest thing was probiotics. And that is why I love probiotics so much, is because I would say
it really made a difference for you.
Huge difference for me. Without the probiotics, I really don't believe that I could have gotten as far as I have. I mean, now it's under control and I'm able to function properly, but there were times in my life, even early on when I had my children, that I would be, ruminating and be in another place, and it's a really tough place to be in. But I'd say, exercise, and of course, if you need, other help as well, you do what's good for you, because we need to get through it. So
100%. And I know that, as you said just now, that positive affirmations and mantras were a really big part of your recovery from your anxiety issues.
Huge.
What were some of the things that you would say to yourself, or that you still say to yourself, to improve your mental wellness?
I'm okay. Things are okay. You know, life is great. You know, I'm appreciative. I'm grateful. I'm a big believer in gratitude. You know, and I have a gratitude journal. It's my gratitude journal and what I'm grateful for. And I've had it for many, many years. And I think, you know, it's important for, at least for myself, speaking for myself, is not to lose sight of all the amazing things in my life, right? And when I would go into that anxious or stressful state, you know, and the anxiety would kick in for me, you tend to not realize or remember what you are grateful for, right? So having that journal was helpful, especially when I would be in a state where I couldn't really function, and, you know, read that journal and understand and be like, okay, right, this is just a moment for me and I'm going to come out of it. So really understanding, and then also journaling while you're there. Like for me, I'm a big journaler. Like I've had one since I'm in grade 3, I believe. So I love journaling and writing it down, because when you're going through something, even, you know, when you're going through an anxious time in your life or a stressful time in your life, the way, at least for myself, the way I process it is through writing. And, you know, taking out that journal or on your computer and just writing things down, and just whatever comes to mind, just writing it down and allowing it to flow. Don't worry so much about the way it sounds or your grammar,
of course, well,
you
just
know,
for
but
you.
just for me, and just kind of letting it flow out of me. And then things come to you, you're like, oh my God, that's what it is. And then you can kind of go back after and read it.
Unpacking it.
Totally.
By accident.
Yeah, and it works really well for me.
Cool.
Know.
Yeah, I was never really a fan of affirmations. My husband was a fan of affirmations. And when I went through sort of a difficult time with my health, which brought me a lot of anxiety, he forced me to start saying daily affirmations, which was, I'm beautiful, I'm powerful, and life is amazing.
Yeah.
And just constantly saying that. And when I first started doing it, I would be like, I'm beautiful, I'm powerful, and life is amazing. And I was over it, it's so lame, oh my God, this is embarrassing. You say it once, it's embarrassing. You say it 5 times, it starts to feel like it could be a possibility. And you say it, you know, 30 times, and by the end of it, you know, I'm like standing up and like shouting it.
You're like, I'm powerful.
I'm powerful, and life is amazing. And it's not every day is that easy to get to that place, but I do find that has been a powerful piece for me.
So I think we should challenge everybody who's watching. So this is a challenge for you who, you know, I think tonight, tomorrow, whenever you have a minute, go to the mirror and look inside the mirror and say, I love you. And see what comes up for you. You know, it's so hard, right? It comes down to that self-love, right? So, you know, look yourself in the mirror with your eyes wide open and just say, I love you. What kind of feelings come up for you? What kind, do you believe it? Are you like, oh my God, no, I don't? Like you said, you know, like you're kind of like, so the more we say it, the more we're going to believe it. And that's why saying it every day is so important. And saying those positive, being kind to ourselves. Like I remember for so long, I would be so hard on myself. You know, if I was going through, you know, one of my anxious states or my stressful states, I would get down on myself. I'm like, oh, why is this going on again? Why did I allow myself to get, you know, why is my anxiety kicking in? As opposed to saying, okay,
pressure on yourself.
This is okay. This is, you know, it's just a phase. It'll pass, right? This too shall pass. Or it is what it is, right? Not allowing that to like, so I think that self-talk is huge. It works and still does to this day work for me really well.
The I love you piece though is a big one for me, because I feel like other than my health issues, my main issue with sort of anxiety and stress and depression was a bad body image for most of my life.
Gosh,
and I think a lot of women can relate to this. It's like the anxiety we feel over how we look, feeling like we're not worthy, feeling like we're not enough, feeling like we're not beautiful enough or smart enough, or, you know, thin enough, which is more often the case.
Or just enough.
And so for me, that's been a big piece for me is creating tools to combat my low self-esteem that I have rehabbed over the last few years. Part of that has been the affirmations a little bit. Part of it is also just sort of curating my vocabulary, and eliminating words that were triggers for me or that didn't support the mentality I wanted to have, and even if I didn't believe it yet, eliminating certain words from my vocabulary and replacing them with stronger words. Instead of saying, you know, I'm fat or I want to be skinny, I would replace it with strength and power
and healthy
and healthy. And even if I didn't believe them for the first few years, which I did not, but I forced myself to change my script, and that has been extremely powerful. And it's something I really like to pay forward to the people that I come in contact with, especially through Body Love, which is really changing how we speak to ourselves.
Absolutely.
Recognizing the moments when we're unkind, accepting it because it happened.
Yep.
We don't want to also beat ourselves up over it, right? We want to accept it, move on, and make changes. And that for me was really big.
It's huge. And that, by the way, that positive self-talk or positive talk actually boosts serotonin.
Does it?
In the body? It does.
Wow.
And then that serotonin is that feel-good transmitter, which boosts our mood, right? It makes us feel better. So that's why it's so important. And again, it's so important for so many reasons. But yes, that self-talk. I am enough.
I am enough.
I am enough.
Oh, you know what else is powerful too is just kind of faking it till you make it.
100%.
So standing in the mirror, and if you don't feel like saying I love you, maybe you just stand in front of the mirror and put on the goofiest smile you can come up with.
Yeah.
And again, it's one of those things where at first it feels weird and it feels silly and you're embarrassing yourself, and then gradually your body responds. It's a really crazy thing.
Yeah.
So if you're not at the I love you phase, or that's not your jam, just go in the mirror, make the goofiest grin you can possibly come up with.
Yeah.
And try to let your body kind of ruminate on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's been big.
No, I love it.
So this is obviously just sitting here with you and talking about this stuff has made me feel so good. And I think that's part of the spirituality component too, is gravitating towards the people that make you feel great.
Yes.
And make you feel supported, that are potentially like-minded, and also that can relate to you.
Absolutely.
Hearing your struggle helps me sort of digest my own struggles, and it makes me feel like I'm not alone.
I love that.
It's a big thing, right? We just want to feel like we're hearing one another.
Well, that's it. And what's great about the support is it's allows us to live longer, be healthier. I mean, there's so much great information around that support team. And you know what? You want to surround yourself with people who bring you up, not tear you down, people who are going to support you, not people who are going to insult you. You don't want toxic people in your life. You don't want the drama. Anybody who thrives on that drama, I don't want them in my life.
100%.
Out.
Get lost.
Out.
We have another question we're going to tackle here from Amir. What are some other natural alternatives to coffee or caffeine that gives you an energy boost?
Well, I would say superfoods. Superfoods are great. So the cacao we talked about, that totally gives us energy. The good fats, coconut oil gives us great energy. So choosing foods that have good nutrition, that are nutrient dense, would be a good one for sure.
Nutrient-dense foods.
Nutrient-dense foods.
Give
Superfoods.
us
Energy. Totally.
And the fats. Is that
they give our brain energy? Yes.
Giving our brain
Yeah,
energy.
they fuel us.
They fuel us.
Yeah.
Also just getting good sleep.
Yep. Sleep is a good one for sure.
I think is a big one. And then we touched on exercise briefly.
But
I
love it.
You can take the girl out of the gym, but you can't take the gym out of the girl.
I like it.
This is something that that has been super powerful for me. First of all, with my body image issues, but also with my mental wellness and my physical wellness has been bringing fitness into my life in a major way. Obviously, exercise brings endorphins.
Yeah. And dopamine.
What else is going on here? Dopamine.
Releases dopamine, which is, again, makes us feel good, right? Puts us in that good mood. And what's great about exercise, and this is something that, I don't know if you feel this as well, or you, Caleigh, is that I've had some of the best ideas over the years when it came to my business when I was exercising.
The mental clarity.
When I was doing yoga, I'd be like, oh my God, great idea, I'm gonna do that. And I'd implement that program. Or when I'm boxing, I'm like, oh, great idea. So so I mean, for me, it's about really sparking ideas. It's about obviously feeling better about myself. When I exercise and I'm moving, I feel good about myself.
I think the other piece of it too it's obviously the endorphins and it's the dopamine and it's feeling good about yourself, but it's also taking that time that is just for you, which is I think that something that we often don't do is to take that moment for the self-care, and that's such it's sort of like a buzzy word, but it's really meaningful. It's self-care, like taking care of yourself. And sometimes the only moments we have to do that are when we're at the gym or engaging in exercise. So I think that's a big piece of it too, taking time away from work. I always say when you have boxing gloves on, you physically can't look at your phone. It's you're trapped.
I like
You've
that.
got these oven mitts on and you just can't do it.
That's awesome.
So it's like a physical break from whatever's stressing you
Yeah.
out. So it's no wonder that you come up with creative ideas because your mind is clear
Yeah.
and you're taking space from those stressful things.
Yeah, and I think it's important. I mean, as a mom with 3 kids, sometimes taking that time can be difficult, right?
Yeah.
So what I started to do was I schedule it into my day. I drop my daughter off at school and then I go right to the gym. And that's just kind of how I've made it work. So for the longest time, I wasn't doing it and I wasn't working out, but I had the nutrition part, but I didn't have the exercise part.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm kind of missing a big part of
Right.
that healthy lifestyle. And then once I started, and I found something that I love to do. And I think that was the key, is find something that you love to do when it comes to exercise, and that way you're going to do it. I love kickboxing. It's fun. It's to, music. You're kind of bouncing around everywhere.
Yeah.
You're hitting a bob. Like, it's really fun.
And what is more powerful
Yeah.
than that?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, it was about finding the right thing. So I think if we can help with any advice when it comes to exercise or having it in your daily routine, is just finding something that you love and then scheduling it in.
And what a great model for your children too, to be taking that time. Like, I think sometimes we feel like we can't take that time because of our kids. I mean, I have dogs, but but it's probably the thing we need to do the most, and it's modeling such wonderful behavior to them, which
Staying
is
active, right?
Staying active and taking care of yourself and all of those things.
Yep, absolutely. I agree.
Maybe your kids will start doing this.
I know my daughter
Doing a
actually
little
did
bit
it.
of
She
this.
loved it. My 12-year-old loved it. She did it.
We have another question.
Yeah.
Karuna, also another amazing name. What a gorgeous name. I'm not a morning person. Oops. What are some tips to make waking up in the morning a bit easier? I would say honestly, movement is a big thing for me. Taking, even if it's like 2 minutes, to do a few stretches, to just take deep breaths, inhaling, exhaling, moving the body a little bit. That has been a big one for me. Also,
love
cold
that.
showers will do ya. And
Cold showers will definitely wake
that'll
you
get
up.
you going.
I think it's something, I think it was Anthony Robbins, every morning takes like a long cold shower, and that's part of his
I
like
can't take a long cold shower, but I do like hydrotherapy. I don't know where you are
hot
with
and
that.
cold.
but
No,
hot and
hydrotherapy
cold,
is amazing. Yeah, definitely will wake you
Yeah.
up. Even skin brushing, kind of getting the circulation moving, that can really help as well.
Yeah, and have a big giant glass of water.
Yeah, water, and then having a a smoothie, or having some, I don't know if you like to eat or not or drink in the morning, but maybe having like a cold pressed juice. Something that's going to give you those vitamins, minerals, and going to wake you up. Do you eat first thing in the morning? I do. I actually do like to eat. I started doing intermittent fasting, so depending when I finish eating the night before. But yeah, no, I do. I like breakfast.
You like your smoothie.
I like my smoothie.
Which I have been casually slipping on, and I'm probably going to eat yours after we stop.
You are welcome
at
to.
our
Yes, no,
Facebook
it's
Live.
yummy.
The cacao.
I know.
I'm so about that right now.
It's so delicious, isn't it? I mean, that's unprocessed, and it's caffeine free, by the way, too. I think I said that, but
Yes.
it's caffeine free. So, but it's just such an amazing food for an energy boost. I love it. I put them in. I put it in all my. I love
I'm
it.
not going to lie to you guys. I still drink the coffee.
Yeah, that's okay too. Again, it's not about what we talked about earlier. It's not about feeling bad about what you're doing.
Right.
It's about making healthier choices. If coffee does is amazing for you and you love it, great. So no one's going to judge you for it. Right?
Yeah, and I think I always want to remind people that sometimes stressing over what we eat can cause us more stress.
Totally.
So
It can
it's
cause
like
more anxiety.
it's that sort of like, let it go. Tomorrow's a new day. Don't beat yourself up over what you've eaten. Yeah, like you didn't cheat on anything. You just made a decision.
Yep.
Hopefully you enjoyed it, and now you get to move on with your life and make new decisions the next day.
Forgiveness, right? Being gentle with yourself. These are words I think that are important that we remember when it comes to
Melissa is
ourselves.
asking us a question. Hi, Melissa. How often should you be doing something like intermittent fasting? That's a good question. I was going to ask the same thing.
So, intermittent fasting can be hard on certain organs in your body. So if you want to do, again, listen to your body. And I'm not the expert on intermittent fasting, just I do it myself, but I'm happy to share my experience. So I do it, I try to do it probably 5-6 days a week, but if that is too much for you or if it's too hard on your body, do it once a week. Do it once a month.
Slow. What do they say? Start with
and it doesn't even have to, the intermittent fasting, you can do it in different ways, right? So I do generally anywhere between 12 and 16 hours. Now, a lot of those hours you're sleeping anyhow, so it's great.
Right.
So if even you can do the fasting for 12 hours, perfect. If you can do it for 16, great. But do what you could do and what feels right for you. But I do love intermittent fasting because I found that it really helps to rebalance our hormones, and it also really helps with keeping your weight in check. There's so many good benefits to it, and because your body's not busy digesting, it's keeping itself.
I'm not a huge fan of intermittent fasting. I don't feel like I ever want to encourage people to not eat because, they decided they weren't going to eat. I think we should eat intuitively. And
do what's good for you. At the end of the day, you have to do what's good for you.
100%. It's just, I think it's in my recovery from my body image issues is the idea of prescribing a time that I can and cannot eat feels really restrictive to me. So it really depends on what you're going through.
Yep.
I would say if you're going to do it, either talk to a doctor or start really slow.
Yeah.
And don't continue if it's uncomfortable.
And that at the end of the day is the most important thing.
Yeah.
You have to listen to your body. You have to, right?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. I think that's the biggest thing I learned here today.
Yeah, we have to, because we know our bodies best, right? No one's going to tell us what's good for us. We're going to tell us what's good for us.
Absolutely. Your body will tell you.
We are powerful.
We are beautiful, we are powerful,
and we are enough.
It's amazing. And we're also enough. Are you guys going to do your homework tonight? Affirmations.
We want to hear about it. Exactly. Looking in that mirror. I love it.
Absolutely. Well, this was amazing. This was amazing. You are amazing.
And
this
you are
discussion was so great to have. And I hope you guys all found it educational. And thank you so much for your questions. But if we didn't get to them, CSNN will actually be answering those questions. There are grads that are on hand to answer your questions. So send them direct messages on Facebook, and they will answer them in the next few days, little while. Yep. So don't be shy if we didn't get to them. But thank you so much for all of your interaction with us.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Yeah, thank you for watching.
Awesome.
Thank you to CSNN for having us
to
have
CSNN.
This great discussion. And also some great news from CSNN. Their alumni conference in May is actually going to be tackling this very issue, this about mental wellness and holistic tips and tricks. So that's exciting. Check their website for more info on that. We really appreciate you guys joining us, and be well.
Be well. To you.
To you. To you.
To you. Thank you.
Cheers.
This was really fun.
This was so fun.
This is really yummy. It's super sweet.
I've been slurping it this entire time. No shame in my game.
I know.